'Tis the season to be jolly, and one of the things that helps keep us jolly at this time of the year is a Christmas tree. We'll take a trip to Teal's tree farm in Bark River to find out what we need to know about Christmas trees.
See all the different variety of trees we have to offer, and then get the whole family involved, pick what they like.
And Kristen takes a look at a 16-point buck shot with a muzzleloader. Stick around, that's all tonight, right here on Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
Whether you pick it from a lot, cut it from a field, the woods, or your backyard, a real Christmas tree is hard to beat. For me, it's the only way to go. And when it comes to picking one out, there are a lot of options: balsam, spruce, pine, and more. I stopped in at Teal's tree farm in Bark River for a look at the different varieties and to find out just what it takes to grow a Christmas tree.
Here at Teals, we are into a lot of different things in the Christmas business. We have about 175 acres of Christmas trees. We grow several different varieties, from Fraser's, balsams, the Scotch, and pine. We're also have a retail where you can come out and choose one that's already cut. We have rides on the weekends to take you out to cut your own, or during the week you can drive out and cut your own. We have a beautiful gift shop with a lot of nice Christmas gifts and items in there. And we're also into the Evergreen business on the wholesale side, and we truck out a lot of different Evergreen products to the cities for florists and landscapers and that kind of stuff.
For a look at the different varieties of trees, I connected up with on-site tree master Matt Willett for a walk in the field.
It's a pretty unique job working on a tree farm here. It's not where I quite imagined I'd be, but I do love it here, and I plan on sticking around here. See, it brings a lot of happiness to a lot of people's homes this time of year, you know. We have 120 acres of trees here. We have another farm just down the road, another 80 acres, so that's a total of 200 acres of Christmas trees we grow and maintain. It's mostly just Joe, Teal, and I. It's a lot of work, 7 days a week. This time of year, there's some long days, especially being in the evergreen and bough business as well. These trees over here are actually crossbred, hybrid between a Fraser and a balsam fir. They're starting to come in nice. They're all just getting a few feet tall now. Probably be about another 4 or 5 years and we'll be able to start harvesting in there. So here we have your traditional Michigan Christmas tree, the balsam. Probably our #1 seller. I think everybody loves the balsam because it is that traditional Michigander Christmas tree, you know. They do make a beautiful tree. They hold up very well. This one here's got nice triple needle look, very full. Some needles lay flat. Some are what we call triple needle, where they're all the way around the whole branch. I don't think he's gonna be left standing here very long. Right here we have a nice big balsam. Wild looking, but still uniform. These trees are nice because when they got these hangers that hang out on them, they look real nice when you're hanging your ornaments on them and they're decorated. Some people like to have that more natural look. Some like a nice tight uniform tree. So we have options for everybody. This right here is another species of balsam. This one's called a harbor balsam. We got these seedlings out of Quebec, Canada a few years back, and these have shot up very well. They're just another option for the people that love their balsam trees. They've grown very well. They took naturally to the soil here very well. I think it's a beautiful tree.
Tree growth is normally on our balsams and that, we can get probably a 7-foot balsam in 8 to 9 years. Our pines we get pretty fast, 7 to 8 years. I don't fertilize too heavy. Some farmers do, tree farmers. Heavy fertilizer can give you a big trunk on the bottom on a short tree, and so that makes it difficult to get in your tree stand. But if you're trying to mass produce these things, sometimes you got to hit the fertilizer kind of heavy on them. I do a little bit, but not too much. Mostly our Frasers. Fraser is our slowest growing tree. It can take up to 10 years for me. We have heavy soil here. They originate from the Appalachians and the Carolina area, so our climate's a little different. So we do struggle trying to grow Frasers. The deer like them, and we battle that. They push out a lot of cones in the spring. Some trees could have up to 300 cones on them. We have to go up with ladders. We have to pick all those cones off because they take the nutrition from the tree, and some of those cones can get 2 to 3 inches tall. So imagine a couple hundred trees or cones on a tree, and them cones get that big. It deforms the tree, and so we have to get all those picked off. There's a lot of money that goes into raising Fraser firs, and that's why they are more expensive.
This here is a Fraser fir. It's probably our #1 selling Christmas tree. Some people refer to it as the Cadillac of Christmas trees. As you can see, it's got nice foliage, very blue in color on top of its needle and underneath it. Just beautiful color to them. They grow nice triple needle, nice and thick. They're not native to the area, so they're a little bit more of a challenge to get to grow here. You got to really watch your soil balance, all the different nutrients in your soil. They're very picky to water. They can't have too much water. They'll drown easy. They're probably one of the most challenging trees to get to grow, but people just love them. You can't beat that blue color on almost any tree. When you get a block of trees that's coming like this, that's when all them challenges pay off. So all these trees were all planted at the same time, but some of them you can tell they take off quicker than the other ones. A lot of it's got to do with your pH balance in your soil. A lot of it's got to do with who even may have planted it. Most of these we plant with a tractor and a planter behind it. Some of them they get hand planted. I sure wish they all grew like this guy right here. He's a beauty. If you can see here, this is what makes them like the hybrid with the Fraser and the balsam. He's got that nice bluish tint underneath there, but he still has the more flat looking needle like a balsam. They're a hybrid between a Fraser and a balsam. This is a con color. These trees here, their needles are actually almost look like rubber. They're a very unique tree. They're tough to grow, but people do love them, and these trees hold up very, very well. They hold up just as well as a Fraser, if not even better. It'll actually make your house smell like oranges. It's got a fruity smell to it. Here we have Nova Scotias, nice triple needle, very full looking tree. We're just getting a nice block of these. They're just getting up to size. These are a very popular seller too. Hard to keep them in supply though. As soon as they start growing, people start chopping them down. These also have a pretty nice blue underside to them, blue under the needles. So this is a traditional white spruce right here. He's got nice round needles. They're a little bit prickly, but they're good if you have cats or dogs. They won't want to mess with these trees here. This is a very durable tree. They're tough. They can handle a lot of weight. You can hang all kinds of ornaments on them. A lot of people love the smell of that fresh cut spruce. You really can't beat any fresh cut tree. They're always nice, full, big. They look like a good traditional Michigan Christmas tree. These here are blue spruce. These are true shiners. They got this real nice blue color in them. Compared to a white spruce, you can really see the blue in there, They're pretty tough too. An average spruce don't hold up quite as well as a balsam or a con color or a Fraser fir might, but blue spruce are tough. They'll hold up just as long. And again, the spruce's trait, they are a little bit more prickly of a tree to decorate, but they are beautiful when they're decorated. And a lot of people with cats or dogs that terrorize their Christmas trees, they won't bother a spruce too much. They're Colorado blues, they call them. They got that nice, real true blue shine to them. Probably the bluest of all Christmas trees, I think. So here we have Scotch pine trees. You can tell there's a little difference in the color of the two. We paint our pines for the simple fact that once the frost comes, they turn yellow. Yellow doesn't mean it's dying, it's just going dormant for the year. So early fall time, we come out and we select a handful of the better looking ones and we paint them up to give them that nice color and They're a traditional Michigan tree, naturally from Michigan, grows here in Michigan, grows very well actually. It's a unique tree, big, round, long needles. The tricky part about growing Scotch pine is trying to get them to grow straight. They grow, their trunks are all different kinds of directions. We got a pretty nice patch of them coming in here, I'd say. Right here we have our white pine tree. So they're a lot like the Scotch pine as far as once the cold temperatures and the frost hits, we pre-paint them so they don't get that yellowish tint to them. They hold up for a long time. They're a beautiful uniform tree. People like them because they're very soft. Unlike the balsam, which is a short needle, these are nice, long, very smooth. They're a little bit on the challenging side to decorate if you have heavy ornaments, but they do make a beautiful tree. They've been a traditional Christmas tree for years.
Yeah, we're out here today just looking for our family Christmas tree this year. Our favorite are the Fraser firs. They seem to hold up great and just look awesome in the house. It's been a family tradition since the girls were, first born, and we just love to have a fresh, real tree in our house as opposed to something that you buy from the store.
Here we have our ride for Choose and Cut. Provide the option for people who want to come out and get a Christmas tree if they are not able to drive out here. Some years we're plenty full of snow and it's hard to get around out here. So it's just another option for the people. If you want to come out and cut your own tree and get the whole family involved, they can all hop in a nice wagon ride, take a little tour of the farm, check it out, see all the different variety of trees we have to offer, and then pick what they like and cut her down and take her home.
We moved up here and we've been renting up here for the last 4 years, so we didn't really have room for a real one. Now we finally have a house that we own, so we were excited to get the kids and come out and get our own real tree so we can put it up.
The Evergreen business, we buy a lot of different types of greens that people come in, we weigh them on our scale, they're paid by the pound. We have people that repackage that, clip it down into like 20-pound bales, and we ship them to the florist. We do a lot with landscapers in the city. We cover the Milwaukee, Chicago area, St. Louis. Some of our stuff from there gets transported down to Tennessee, Indiana. The landscapers use it for doing a lot of city decorating with the pots and all the different gardens they have downtown in the city. The florists, they use it for their flower arrangements, all their Christmas arrangements that they do and ship out to the box stores and that kind of stuff. We buy roughly around 500 ton with all the greens that we buy, all the different varieties. And we have one of our own semis that haul, and then we have other trucking companies that come in and haul for us as well and make the deliveries. These are our 25-foot coils of balsam rope. We do 50-foot coils. This is the garland like you see hanging over the streets, or like we have here on the front of our gift shop. It's very popular. We just shipped a bunch of garland and some evergreen boughs to the head coach of the Packers in Green Bay last night so he could decorate his home. These are some of the wreaths we do. This is kind of a standard door size. We do some wreaths as tall as 7 feet, big ones for businesses and stuff like that. We also do Christmas trees, like a wreath. We have the candy canes that we do. They're pretty popular. We also have crosses we do. We always tell people, if you pick one off the lot, maybe it's been cut for a few days, maybe a week, to give it a fresh cut before they put it up so that the trunk, the pores are open, it's got a fresh cut so it can draw water. Keeping it away from heat registers, sometimes because they don't have a choice, it's where it's got to go. If you have a big picture window, it gets all day sun, it can dry that side of the tree from reflecting on there. If you can avoid that, that helps. Over time it does seal up. We also tell people when they go out to cut their own, they get home and they call us, their tree is way too big. When you're in the field, you don't have the ceiling or anything to gauge it by. They don't realize it's as big as it is, and we've had that happen more than once, for sure. We also have a machine here that wraps them up, makes it easier to get in your house without scuffing up your door trim. We're limited on big trees. The bigger the tree, the fatter they are, and when they get too much width on them, sometimes the machine can't pull it through. And that's the ones you want to try to wrap for people so that they don't bang their house up coming in. So it is a nice option to get it wrapped. It does save on the door trim and easier for us to get in your vehicle. Around 1937, my grandparents, one night in a snowstorm, a truck had gotten stuck at the end of their road. So my grandpa hooked up the ox and he went and pulled this guy out and he put him up for the night. And he asked him what he had on his truck and he says, well, I'm hauling evergreens. He says, I go down to the market in Chicago and I peddle the greens and then I come back and we cut more. My grandpa got thinking and told my grandma that this might be better than farming. And he had cut some cedar boughs and he went back to Chicago, he peddled them, sold it all, come back up, did it again. Told my grandma, he says, I think this is better than farming. They cut enough and where they could pay people to help cut and go out in the woods and cut. As they built that up, they ended up putting a building up here on the highway in Bark River. Her two sons, my dad Melvin and her other son Wayne, ended up retiring in 1997. I've been doing this on my end for about 40 years. I'm the last Teal carrying the name in the business, and we're trying to make it work. Stick around.
Christmas is right around the corner. If you haven't already got a Christmas tree, support our local UP Christmas tree growers by stopping in for a visit. Pick out that perfect tree and hang your ornaments on a wonderful fragrant piece of the real UP outdoors.
Deer muzzleloading season runs from December 4th through the 13th here in the UP. I met up with hunter Tyler Harkonnen of Baraga County to check out a very unique 16-point buck he harvested on the first day.
I still had 2 tags left after rifle season. I tried to help my wife bag her first deer, which she did. She got a nice 8-point there, not too far from where I was stationed at. And then I kind of took it easy for a little bit because we didn't need the meat right away. And then towards the end of rifle, then we started getting sightings of him. We called him Caribou Lou in the pictures, just with the branched off horn in the back and front there. He looked like a miniature reindeer. So he actually came in once early October, and that was the only time. Then he fell off the map all the way until end of rifle season. I started scrambling the day of muzzleloader, trying to find something to shoot, and so I made some phone calls, and my friend Nate from down the road happened to have this that he wasn't using at the time, and he said, try it out. You know, you never shot a black powder pistol my whole life, so here that day of muzzleloader, I shot it a few times, felt comfortable, and I was excited to be able to get out that evening. And 5:30 p.m. he came in, followed a bunch of does, and 50 yards he stood broadside in front of me, and it was all that's all she wrote, I guess. So there was no blood at first, and I was glad I called a few of my friends, and my dad came and helped as well. And he was about 150 yards from where I was, and we found him pretty fast, and we celebrated for the last couple days. So I counted it's 16 points, so we're hoping to get it officially scored. One of the DNR biologists I know, he stopped by yesterday, and he said probably with the horns, you know, the base of the horns and that, it could be about over 4 years. He weighed at 129 pounds. And after we're looking at it, when we came up upon it, something, we're not sure what happened here. We're not sure if he got gored while fighting or if he got hit by a car, or, you know, even if somebody else shot at him. But poor thing probably had an infection. Oh, no. Part of my Christmas present was to get a decent mount done. So there's a guy up the road on Skin Deep Taxidermy. I bring all my turkeys and deer for him, and he does a great job. So we already discussed it, and as soon as we're done celebrating, we'll get it to him. And I'm gonna do what's called a pedestal mount, where it's about just around the shoulder, but it'll be sitting on a pedestal rather than on a wall there. So lots of character, and people hunt many years to see something like this, and I'm at the age of 31, and to be able to actually bag a deer like this, it's kind of a big deal for me, I guess. I've been deer hunting since I was 13, and this is the stuff that you see on TV or in magazines, and just to have it on your camera, I mean, that's already a privilege, I guess you could say, and to be able to see it in broad daylight, yeah, you can't make it up.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next week right here on Upper Michigan's very own Discovering.